On the weekly chart, we're going to look at Ulta in here. Green on the day, up around $8 from Thursday's close, but red on the weekly candle. Indecision in here. We are trading below that 9-day EMA. That is going to be a place for us that we need to breach and hold for sure, especially on some volume before we can get a nice push up in here. So you can see we had 4 red candles in a row. And then this past week, although we did have some indecision and a nice battle in here overall, basically with the overall markets as well, where you had the VIX kind of deciding trying to figure out what it's going to do. You had the overall markets kind of doing those little sharp recoveries here and there. You had an overall indecision candle for Ulta. So that is good news for us, even though it is red. And then perhaps now, maybe this next week, we can kind of say, okay, our RSI has been reset a little bit in here. Let's get some more volume and we can start pushing through into that 9-day EMA. So the 9-day EMA is trading at 524. Anything above there, you're looking at 528. That's our major resistance. Above then we can start worrying about that 546. On the downside, though, we are respecting this lower trend line right here. But then anything below that, you're looking at that 497, and then the 481s are going to be our supports, which was our previous resistances from way back in the day. Now, as far as our implied volatility, our IV ranking here is 54. So everything is pretty juiced in here for a nice move. That's because you had so much volatility kicking in the past month or so. But you do have we did have a nice $8 move on Friday with that nice recovery, and you're already pricing in a $16 expected move on top of that $8 that we just had. So by this Friday, $16 is what everybody is pricing in, 24 from the following, and then you do have earnings coming up at the beginning of December. So perhaps after we get through that monthly expiration, things can kind of give a better, clearer picture for us in here. As are we going to get a nice little earnings run, or are we going to kind of have a little drawdown and consolidation going into that earnings report? But until then, we're just going to be watching this 9-day EMA. It's going to be all about that level in here. If we can breach and hold, then we'll be working our way up. If not, then probably some consolidation in here between the 497s and the 520s. And then a lot of IV will be getting sucked out in here. But we'll have to wait and see what the chart tells us here in Ulta. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.